She doesn't exist to be easy on the eyes for you, but she does exist to give some pretty insane hot takes on Twitter. Yes, that's right. I'm talking about Frosk. And this time she's come after Henry Cavill. Like that was a battle she was even going to come close to winning. I don't know what came over her, but let's dive into the video. So here is the tweet in question. She says, Henry Cavill said some very questionable things around Me Too and dated a 19-year-old as 30 plus. Seeing people throw themselves at his feet for The Witcher is weird. The show is whatever at best. Now, I will agree with her that the show is whatever at best. She is right on that, but not because of Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill, the only good thing about the show is Henry Cavill. But let's continue this. I didn't come after her because, like, I'm too much of a softie to do that, but I do laugh when other people do. Not gonna lie. In this case, Nerdrotic replied and said, did he destroy an entire company because you did? And then he posted this Chrissy Mayer impersonating Frosk, which this video was freaking hilarious.
Fasten your seatbelts. It's gonna be a
bumpy ride.
All you geeks and gamers better stop jerking off to me, okay? I smell like burnt hair, and Julie is stopping you. I fuck you like you're retarded because I think you're all retarded.
I love this.
I see the chat.
Wait till they do the seal claps.
Right now, jerking off to your girl. Frost bitten.
Go Frost!
Now press F if you're not jerking off. Frost bitten.
Go Frost!
I love that. Okay, so it's the seal clap for me. All right, so that happened. Here's Hot Toys, aka Ads, aka Heels versus Babyface. He also came after. But yeah, to me it's like, hey, you put hot takes out on the internet, you are putting yourself out there for this kind of stuff, and I don't think they did anything wrong. They didn't go for like the kind of unrelated attacks, you know what I mean? So I'm here for it. So anyway, that is what the problem is in question. And then she made this reply. She says, it is big yikes energy. I just discovered he also dated her, because of course Gina Carano lives rent free in all woke people's heads. They can't stand her. They hate a woman who thinks for herself and doesn't follow the hive mind that we are told we have to follow. I would venture to say, people they can't control, who they try to control, women, people who aren't white, stuff like that. They want to tell us that we're victims, and they do that because they want to control us. So when we don't toe the line, oh, they hate us, and they hate Gina because she's a successful, beautiful boss babe who kicks butt and has her own opinions and doesn't bow to the mob. So let's go ahead and hop into this article from Bounding Into Comics to kind of expound a bit more. As y'all know, I adore Bounding Into Comics. They're great. In an apparent bid to retain her relevance following the collapse of G4's recent revival attempt, former network host Indiana Frosk Black has attempted and failed to frame former Netflix's The Witcher star Henry Cavill as problematic. After 3 seasons of watching Netflix butcher author Andrzej Sapkowski's original work, Cavill announced his exit from the streaming giant's live-action adaptation of The Witcher on October 29th. Taking to his personal Instagram account, the Superman actor informed fans that my journey as Geralt of Rivia. Okay, so we already know this. I already made a video about this. So This is where he wishes him well. So while many met with this news with a mixture of emotions ranging from regret towards the wasted potential of his casting to relief that the actor no longer had to work with such bastardized material, Frosk saw an opportunity to virtue signal. Henry Cavill said some very questionable things around Me Too and dated 19-year-old as 30 plus. For some reason, I don't know what it is with woke people that are obsessed with age gaps with two consenting adults. At the end of the day, if they're both adults, then it's really none of our business. And not only that, but 19 and 30 isn't even that crazy, especially if you compare it to something like, okay, 19 and 80, I get it. That's weird. But even so, that's clearly a transaction that two adults have made. If a 19-year-old is dating an 80-year-old, clearly she wants his money more often than not, and the 80-year-old wants a beautiful young woman. This is a business transaction. While I think it's weird, they're both adults. That's for them. That's their decision, and it's quite frankly none of my business. So yes, I do think this whole thing is ridiculous, and you are seeing a wave of that with the woke people. That's like the new thing that they go after now. I saw another tweet not long ago about fictional characters. Someone's OCs. I don't even know if they were original characters or existing characters, but I thought they were OCs. There were two. There were a couple. One of them was 26, and the other one was like 35 or something like that. And of course, woke Twitter just came after that thinking it was just wrong, which is mind-blowing to me because both well into adulthood, but I digress. Let's continue. Frost's mention of Cavill's questionable Me Too comments is a reference to an interview the actor gave to GQ Australia in 2018. Good. It looks like Bounding into Comics did that research because I pulled it up to read it just in case. All right. Asked by the publication for his thoughts on the movement, Cavill asserted, "Stuff has to change, obviously," before briefly pausing and subsequently adding, "But there's something wonderful about a man chasing a woman." Dude, this is so right too. And I don't care what all these feminists say and stuff. There's a reason that even a lot of feminists will go after a masculine man because that's just more attractive. For a man to be in a masculine role, to be the pursuer. And these movements like Me Too, what they do is, this whole thing, you always run into a danger when it comes to, I'm going to believe someone solely based on their gender or based on their skin color or based on whatever factor that, they were born with. That's ridiculous. Of course, we should be supporting victims of stuff, but to say you're going to believe someone no matter what just because she's female is absurd, because let's not pretend like stuff like this hasn't been abused before. We all know it has, and we all know that some innocent dudes have been punished for that. So of course it's insulting. It's even insulting to women to say, I'm just gonna believe you no matter what because you're a woman. That's insulting. Like, obviously women are capable of lying. So this is why we have things in place. This is why we have protocols in place for the law, and this is why you should be seeking the law and the current avenues or the proper avenues with these kind of situations. Because when you just go on Twitter to just do this, and I'm not going to say every single case of people going to Twitter, because sometimes they did go to the police and then they went to Twitter. I'm not going to say 100% of the cases were wrong, because first of all, I haven't seen them all, but at any rate, for the most part, Twitter ain't the place for that, especially when you're not getting the full story. But let's go ahead and continue. I think a woman should be wooed and chased, but maybe I'm old-fashioned for thinking that. Dude, this is so based. He continued, "It's very difficult to do that if there are certain rules in place, because then it's like, well, I don't want to go up and talk to her because I'm going to be called a ist or something." Now he Poseidon. Now you really can't pursue someone further than no. It's like, okay, cool. But then there's the, oh, why'd you give up? And it's like, well, because I didn't want to go to jail. That is incredibly based. This whole thing is incredibly based. And you know what? I don't care. This is the thing about a lot of what the woke people do and say, and what even a lot of modern day feminism does is it completely ruins it makes things worse for a lot of women, because I feel like biologically most women just are programmed to want that. You know, that's just how it is in nature. You want the man to pursue. And you just look at cases where the woman pursued, usually those don't have as favorable of an outcome as when the man pursues, because when the woman takes that kind of step, and I'm not saying there's no exceptions to this rule, but if she's in that masculine zone, it just kind of messes up the dynamic. And so, I mean, I feel like a lot of, not in every case, but a lot of times when it comes to gender dynamics, they're in place for a reason, because, I mean, biology, and they work. You know, and again, there's variations to that, and there's a spectrum to that, but still, yeah. Meanwhile, her mention of him having dated a 19-year-old refers to Cavill's ex-girlfriend, Tara King, a British woman with whom he shared a brief relationship between 2015 and 2016. While Frosk undoubtedly expected her tweet to earn her praise and adulation of her more gender and identity politics obsessed peers, it was instead met with disagreement from nearly everyone who read it, including her own fans and supporters. So he was in a consensual adult relationship? Horrifying. For real. I mean, this, I don't understand, because she did come out saying she's going to quit the gaming industry and all this stuff after the whole G4 thing happened. But so I am confused as to why she just comes out with this take and what she's trying to stay relevant for, to have this kind of take. But I got to admit, one thing I will give her credit for is she's consistent. I don't like it, and I don't like her takes, and I think they're ridiculous, but at least she's consistent in these boneheaded takes, because that's one thing I've always said, is it's funny how the woke mob will make these rules and apply them to everyone, but their favorite celebrities or their favorite mega streamers or this and that, because you notice a lot of them have, you know, done things that they try to cancel other people for, but when it's somebody they like, the rules change. So in this case, hey, I have wondered that, because I remembered Henry Cavill having these takes before, and I always found it curious. I was like, oh, so the mob, they like him? The woke people still like him? I'm surprised. So, hey, she's consistent here. Still think it's stupid, but yeah. Anyway, yeah. There's that for today's video. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me today. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Happy Godzilla Day, by the way, if you're watching this from the day I am uploading this. I will catch you next time. And in the meantime, go boom.